What's up guys, I'm Steven, and today we are talking about the 6 things that you can do to finish your 3D prints so they are just absolutely beautiful. The part I'm going to be using as an example is the back bracket of a glow tie, and the glow tie is a light up bow tie that I designed. It actually puts out its own Wi-Fi hotspot and you can connect to it with your phone and change the color and the patterns of the lights from a web page that's actually hosted from the bow tie. I'm going to do a video about this in a little bit probably. Alright, number 1, start with a good print. If you start with a poopy print, it's going to take so much longer for the part to come out really good. I usually try and go for a really small layer height because it makes the bumps less visible from the layers, but in the past with small layer lines I've had problems with bridging and top surface layers, like with this print, so I usually try and go as small as I can with the print still turning out good and having good finish. But your mileage may vary and your printer may be different, so whatever works for you. As long as you get a really rock solid print, that's the most important thing. Number 2, use white ABS. There's a couple reasons for this, but white is a lot easier to paint, it shows shadows really well so you can find your little imperfections, and white filament tends to have a higher purity of the actual plastic polymer than other colors do. With something like black filament, manufacturers can just kind of throw whatever they want into the big old vat, and then that kind of ends up in not quite as pure plastic, but white, they can't get away with that because it shows up a lot easier. So white tends to be a little better, usually for like actual materiality. And ABS is really just because like ABS sands really well, and that's probably more of a preference thing, but I think ABS has a much nicer finish when you sand it. It can be a little harder to print, so if you got something really wonky you want to bust out, PLA will work too, but at the very least white is a really good color to go with. Also, primer sticks to ABS super well. Number 3, use that Radical Pre-Mix Bondo Spot Putty. I cannot rave about this stuff enough. It is the bee's knees. It's pretty much just like Bondo, but already mixed up. And it's got a tiny little nozzle. You can squirt a little bit out onto an X-Acto knife and put it on your part where you have little imperfections. Oh, this stuff is so awesome. It's so much better than normal Bondo if you're doing a little patchwork. It's sick. No more mixing too much Bondo and throwing away all your extras. You spit out exactly as much as you need and go from there. Plus, hot tip, if you're impatient as hell like I am, you can hit it with a hairdryer afterwards and it dries so much quicker. Number 4, filler primer. After you sand down all your Bondo and you hit it with a coat of filler primer, all the little bumps that you thought you got out are gonna show up. And that sounds super bad, but it really shows you where you still have work to do and where you can go patch it back up with Bondo later. It's great for finding all the little things you couldn't see normally. Number 5, use absolutely every grit of sandpaper that you have. Literally just like start from the lowest grit, the roughest, and then slowly work your way up through like every single kind that you have. It makes it so much easier if you go through all the different grits instead of hopping from like 150 to 600. You're not gonna get what you want. I suggest getting like a variety pack at Home Depot or something and then using everything in there. If you hop up grits too quickly, you end up like sanding a bumpy surface and you get a really smooth, like not even surface, which is not what you want. So if you go really smoothly, you can control really finely exactly what your surface is like. Just use a bunch of grits. And it is gonna take a hot sec to get through all the sanding. There is so much sanding involved. When I did this on the bow tie, it took like 3 episodes of Adventure Time per grit. I did like 5 grits, so that's like the whole season. It's a lot of sanding. Pro tip, be a dork and use a headlamp. And I know it sounds like a really dumb thing, but it is the best thing ever when you're working with like small things really close to your face. When you have the extra light, it makes a world of difference. Do yourself a favor, spend 12 bucks on Amazon and go and just buy a headlamp. It's awesome. Number 6, matte paint is your accomplice in all of your sanding crimes. It'll cover up all your mistakes, and the reason is that it doesn't really kick light. If you have a glossy surface and you move a little bit, you can see how the reflection changes because glossy paint reflects light really well. But matte paint does no such thing. It'll kind of absorb all the light, so you can't really see all the imperfections as you move. It just kind of looks nice and continuous, and it's not really kicking light in weird ways as you move. Plus, I personally just think it looks a lot better. And if you follow those steps, you'll end up with something like this. Oh, baby, look at that surface finish. Oh, so smooth, so wonderful. So there you have it. Those are 6 things you can do to make your 3D prints look so beautiful they'll think they're injection molded.